Contingency log number 88, codename The Blue Blur. I'm sure the target of this contingency needs no introduction, as he is likely one of the most notable individuals in the multiverse. A man with unquantifiable speed, rolling around at the speed of sound, and willing to prove it to any and all who think themselves his better. Sonic the Hedgehog is someone who has, for his entire life, thrown himself into whatever danger which would make itself known, saving lives with a smile on his face and darting off to the next adventure before the dust could ever settle. Not just a beacon of hope in his universe, but also a personification of living free, being true to yourself even when others may question it. In his world, Sonic and other allies, which call themselves the Freedom Fighters, take it upon themselves to protect civilians against any threat to their way of life, the most common of which coming in the form of a rather portly man by the name of Robotnik, or Eggman as he is referred to by others, mainly Sonic. A man who has, despite multiple failures, done everything he can not just to destroy the world around him, but more specifically with the goal of finally destroying Sonic himself. As someone who is also on my list, I'll keep this brief. Just know that he is a dangerously genius man, with an intelligence as vast as Sonic is fast. That said, despite any and everything Eggman has managed to throw in Sonic's direction, neither has managed to accomplish what he desired, not just because of the help he has on his side, but because of Sonic's unbreakable will and his quick actions on the battlefield. This has allowed him to not just survive, but thrive in battles against hordes of machines, more often than not managing to rip through them as though they were made of paper. But he's done more than simply handle common fodder. A mistake many have likely made is the misunderstanding that someone who can only run fast can't possibly be able to fight. And that would be a grave mistake to make, as Sonic is quite adept as hand-to-hand combat as well. Sonic has not only managed to handle Shadow, someone who is near equal to himself in strength and speed, but he's also bested Metal Sonic, a machine who had been created specifically to fight against him, even going so far as to believe himself to be the real Sonic. But all of Eggman's technological accomplishments were not enough to give Metal Sonic the edge. Even Surge, someone who had been genetically engineered to rival Sonic, was little more than passing entertainment when faced against him, the act of trying to surpass him nearly killing her in the process as well. When it came to speed, Sonic seemed to be an anomaly. But speed and combat ability alone wouldn't allow him to survive every situation, which is where experience comes into play. While Sonic has spent many years battling giant robots and mechanized copies, Sonic had also been thrown into a variety of situations. In his time, he's faced primordial evil gods and its minions, shadow demons, solar gods outside of time itself. Actually, he seems to face godlike beings more often than I believe even he would like to. Though one could never tell, as Sonic has managed to face them all holding nothing less than a can-do attitude. Honestly, I'm a little envious of that. The ability to always spread hope even in the most dire of situations is a commendable one. And similar to Shadow, Sonic also has access to that of a super form. Though he did not seem to stop there, as over the years, Sonic has managed to achieve multiple other forms. From transforming into a werehog with the rising of the moon, to a transformation fueled by negative emotions. Even once being granted powerful armor by the sword Excalibur, Sonic has enough transformations to rival a certain individual. However, despite how vast his selection of transformations are, Sonic is unable to achieve them under his own power, needing access to other mythical items to grant them to him, and as many of these either no longer exist or exist in another dimension. It is highly unlikely that I would need to face them. Similar to Shadow, Sonic is someone whom I have to show my respect, as he had also been flung into my world for a time, and he didn't hesitate when it came to keeping my world safe when the Justice League had been absent. He is someone who will never turn away an outstretched hand pleading for help, even if it were someone he'd just met. And maybe that's what's made him who he is to many out in the multiverse. This purity an unwavering desire to push towards the better. It's something that has caused him some strife when it came to his comrades. For you see, Sonic has had, what many believe, to be multiple opportunities to put a stop to Eggman for good. But in all these situations, not only has he refused, but also fought his own friends to stop them from doing it themselves. Maybe it's due to my own moral code, but I understand Sonic not just in his desire to believe that everyone can change, but in the will it takes to stick to a conviction like this, even when the rest of the world is telling you otherwise. Seeing someone like Sonic fall to darkness would be hard to accept for many, of that I am sure. But for his sake, that is why I must prepare should it ever happen. But countering him will prove difficult, as speedsters are on a level of their own. As I stated before, Barry seems more than ready to take on Sonic should the need arise, but I have to be careful with that option. While I am also prepared to use Wally against Shadow, the truth is, Shadow is nowhere near as fast as Sonic is, and I've seen what happens when two speedsters are pushed to their absolute limits. And if Sonic's is near the same as Barry, the battle between them could very well threaten to rip apart the universe itself. I believe the solution should not be worse than the problem, so I will only send in Barry if all else fails. In fact, if I want a chance of handling Sonic, my goal is to first find a means to slow him down. But given who he is, that is not an easy goal to achieve. With an accelerated metabolism, Sonic would likely be capable of burning through any and all sedatives I could create. And with the strength and speed he has, any and all attempts to trap him would be left to chance alone, which leaves me with little other options. Countless plans which I have created and scrapped once any doubts crossed my mind of their success. It's given me a bigger understanding how he's gone undefeated for so long. But no matter how strong the armor, there is always a weakness one can exploit. And after some time I believe that I have found them. Many of you are aware of the Speed Force and what power it grants to those who tap into it. But how many of you are aware that there exists other forces as well? Truth be told, even the Flash was unaware for a time, and while each come with interesting abilities which tap into different aspects of life. The one we will be focusing on is the direct opposite of the Speed Force. Called the Still Force, it allows anyone who wields it to induce entropy to anything they desire, allowing to not only slow, but also completely stop anything they desire. This power even once affected the likes of a fifth-dimensional being, though only for a brief period. But that alone proves that it may very well be effective against Sonic as well. That said, I am unable to tap into the Still Force as of yet. But with the help of Barry and Wally, I'm sure we will make a breakthrough soon enough. In the meantime, I have one other method I am still considering, which is to use Sonic's speed in my own favor. While a working theory, I believe that I could use an implant which, when used to send a specific signal into his brain, will cause Sonic to start running, and it'll effectively prevent him from stopping. The idea, rather obviously, is to cause Sonic to burn through his stamina and be rendered immobile, though there is a problem with this. You see, Sonic has had to deal with something such as this before. During a time where he needed to run at his top speed to fight off a virus which threatened to turn him into a metal zombie. His endurance, while pushed to the limit, seemed to last till the very last moment. That said, the difference here is that he still had moments where he could stop and recover what little stamina he could before having to run once more. With this, and the occasional attack to keep him on constant guard, my hope is that Sonic will run out of stamina sooner rather than later. And once subdued, I can take time trying to discover what may have caused him to become a threat in the first place, and hopefully manage to undo it, as losing Sonic could prove a rather hefty blow to his friend's efforts. And I shudder to think what could happen to his world if he wasn't there to protect it. If you also have a character you wish for me to cover, or just want to support this channel, I'll have a link to my Ko-fi page. There will also be a Google Doc with the list of characters who have ever been done or already commissioned by others.